Welcome back, everybody, to another Power Rankings edition of the Greeks Gridiron. I am Athan Hristodulu. It is June 12th, 2021, and today we are discussing the final AFC team of our Power Rankings, the AFC East. Now, this is a division with a lot of potential, a lot of hopes. Franchise quarterbacks have been drafted, and there's a lot to really dissect, I think, about the AFC East. A lot of questions and things that we're going to be looking to see get answered as we roll through the early parts of the season, and really just how good some of these draft picks are going to end up being for some of these teams. Some of the free agent signings, a lot of money has been spent the last couple of years in free agency by this division. So a lot to get into, a lot to talk about. So let's dive right into the thick of things. If you have not seen a Power Rankings video before, my Power Rankings will be shown to my left here. As you guys can see, the numbers going down from 1 to 4. The way we do these is organized by worst to first. So we start with the number 4 team, obviously culminating into the number 1 team. Now, for the number 4 team, this was probably, I feel like I say this a lot about every single division. It's funny, but this was probably the easiest of the 4, and this is not to knock you guys, New York. However, I will go ahead and put at number 4, the New York Jets. Now, there is a lot to be excited about in New York. This is a team that is in full rebuild mode. They just drafted at the number 2 spot what they hope to be their franchise quarterback for the next 10 to 15 plus years in Zach Wilson. So a lot of things to be excited about. They're working with a treasure trove of draft picks this year, next year. So a lot to be excited for in New York with the addition of head coach Robert Saleh. It seems like Joe Douglas, who was somebody I was kind of on the fence about early on, it seems like he's really trying to right this ship in the right direction. So exciting to see some of the things, but as for like them being at number 4, they were the second worst team last year, and there were so many holes to fill in the roster. And honestly, you could argue at times they might have even been the worst team in the league. On top of that, you get a rookie QB coming in with a depleted roster that's trying to, reset and rebuild. There are some pieces to like, but again, there's just so much that needs work in New York. This is a team that, 1-2 years down the road with a couple of strong free agencies, and on top of that, strong drafts, you could really get excited about this team. But I will say this. I have them at number 4. I expect them to win no less than 5 to 7 games, though, next year. I think Zach Wilson is talented enough that, with the right pieces around him and with the right coaching with Robert Saleh, they could win some games. They could surprise and steal a game or two here and there. They might even be better than what I'm predicting. Who knows? Zach Wilson could be the savior of New York. But I do think, 5 to 7 wins at least is probably the floor for this team. Things are looking good in New York. It might be another tough year as a Jets fan. However, there is a lot to be excited for going down the road. And I think anyone in New York, as a Jets fan, that is, will be excited to watch the progression of Zach Wilson and see how Robert Saleh does reforming this team and really building a culture that he will be able to, run, and everyone, I think, will appreciate over there in New York. Now, going in at the number 3 spot, this was the 2 and 3 spot, pretty difficult for me to decide on. It took me a long time to be okay with the picks that I had at these 2 spots here, and this might come to a surprise to some people. I know that, these 2 teams, the Dolphins at number 3, I guess, without trying to hold off any longer. Some Dolphins fans might be a little bit frustrated with me on this one, considering that the Patriots went 7-9 last year and they went 10-6. The reasoning for the Dolphins being at number 3 is more because of what New England did than what the Dolphins didn't. So the reason I have Dolphins at number 3, they lost Ryan Fitzpatrick, who, he won some big games for them and was a solid leader for that team. There's still some questions about the deep ball with Tua, and, is he really going to be the guy over there in Miami? I will say this. He did go 6-3 last year as a starter, so I don't think he gets as much credit as he should. I do think he gets a little bit of flack on things he maybe shouldn't, or there's things that are being oversighted in how he was, in the team that he was playing with and just his overall situation. But I will say this is a prove-it year for him. He needs to produce if he's going to be the guy over there in Miami. He does have some solid pieces. They went after Jalen Waddle in the draft, so a lot to be excited about. Mike Gesicki's, a young emerging tight end that they have over there in Miami as well. And then obviously you have Devontae Parker, so a nice setup there. And then on top of that, some good defensive picks in Jalen Phillips, Javon Holland, and Liam Eichenberg on the offensive line there. Some people considering the Miami Dolphins draft picks to be, or draft class, to be one of the best in the league, if not the best, and in my personal opinion is one of the stronger draft classes as well. This was already a solid roster, and it only got better with the draft, so this could easily be a swap at 2 and 3 between the Patriots and the Dolphins, and obviously that will kind of spoil who I have at number 2 here, being the New England Patriots. So Dolphins fans, trust me, I hear you if you're, being like, wow, you picked the Patriots seriously. There's just a lot with the Patriots, in my opinion, that kind of pushes them just a little bit ahead because, there's so much that can go into that. People say that, winning in free agency doesn't win you games in the regular season, and I agree with that to an extent, but, a lot of these teams that we've seen spend a bunch of money in free agency were not the New England Patriots and did not have the coaching staff that New England has. So I give them a little bit more in terms of I don't know what the word would be precisely, but I give them a little bit more credence, I guess, with going in and spending all the money that they did. Now, the Patriots, they had $250 million offseason, so, and that's no stranger to anybody. $125 million spent going through picking up, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Nelson Aguilar, Matthew Judon. I mean, they went after everybody that first tampering period, that first day of tampering over there in free agency. And I mean, there's so much to like about what New England did with the pieces that they brought in. A defense that was pretty strong, that only got stronger with some of the additions as well. Again, this is a great coaching staff that brought in some serious pieces on a team that went 7-9 that probably should have been closer to 5-11 or 4-12. But, obviously that coaching staff they have there was able to will that team to 7-9. Mac Jones being the draft pick that they have, I think he landed in the absolute best situation for him, coming from a super stacked and great coaching, stacked team, and great coaching staff in Alabama, then moving into the new NFL with arguably the best coach of all time. And then, there's some solid pieces now around him. It seems like New England's going to go back to that controlling the middle of the field with the 2 tight end sets, kind of what they big on in the early 2010s. So there's a lot to like about them. They boast one of the strongest defensive units. They're getting guys back like Hightower. So there's a lot to like about what's going on in New England. And again, this could very easily be me just oversighting because of all the pieces that they brought in through free agency and some of the strong draft picks they had as well. But I feel comfortable putting New England at number 2 here just because of the coaching staff and all of the pieces they brought in. I think that, with Cam Newton having another year in the system, if he ends up being the starter, or if Mac Jones really is as good at memorizing things, it could be a really big year for New England, in my opinion. But that's where I'm going to put them, is at the number 2 spot. Now, at number 1, I'm going to go ahead and put the Buffalo Bills. This is a team that is kind of just locked and reloaded in, and they're getting ready to head back for another AFC Championship game. Some solid signings in free agency, some good draft picks as well. They had one of the better draft classes, in my opinion. Most of last year's team is back. They got younger at edge rusher, which is a positive as well. So, and that's probably the biggest need that they had was towards the end of the year, they really lost the pass rush. And, that was something that a lot of people were talking about coming out of that game against Kansas City. So, in my opinion, Buffalo is the number 1 team of the AFC East. I don't really foresee any of the other teams knocking them off. The Dolphins would have to have a really monstrous year to be able to surpass them. And again, New England, I'm so torn between Miami and New England being at that 2 and 3 spot. New England could very well be number 3, and the Dolphins could be right back in that number 2 spot. I think if and this goes against how I'm organizing the teams, but if the Dolphins really hit on their draft picks and their team was really that good last year and it got even better with what they did this offseason, I think the Dolphins, more so than the Patriots, would be more likely to overtake Buffalo. But I mean, if Buffalo's not winning 13, 14, 15 games next year, obviously they have the extra game added this year. It's a 17-week season now, or 18-week season, 17 games. I would be shocked if the Bills don't win a monster load of games this season, but that is what I'm looking at for the AFC East. I would love to know what you all think in the comment section down below. If you have not already, like the video, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And again, fire down in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of these AFC rankings here. I love to see your guys' opinions and, go back and forth with you guys for the reasonings as to why you think someone should be here or there. So please let me know down below. But other than that, I am Athan Hristodulu. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. I'll catch you guys next time with another video. Have a good one.